Hello, I'm Ed Gibson. I was a science pilot on Skylab 4, where they sent us up and forgot about us, and we came back down about almost 3 months later. Great experience. But we're here to talk about the International Space Station and the R&D, as well as the educational aspects of it. And I think that's going to be great. I hope you enjoy it as much as we enjoy bringing it to you. Well, space exploration is a way in which people can experience, students especially, the excitement of going into space. And there certainly is a lot of excitement. It's a new territory, fresh to explore, and even though we've done a lot so far, we're just in our infancy. So we're almost always at the beginning. I hope that the students will look on it and say, as they study science and technology, now when they think about going into space and producing their own experiments, now they become part of it. They're not an onlooker, they are now immersed in it. And I think that's a total different world than just reading a textbook. Favorite experience? Well, let's see, there's really two. I don't know how to separate them. The first one is when you get up there and you look out the window, it's kind of like seeing the Earth from an airplane, because the Earth moves by almost at the same angle change. But rather than seeing just half a city, now you see half a continent or a whole continent at one time. And after a while you do that, orbit after orbit, you get to know the Earth like the back of your hand. It becomes the face of an old friend. And that was really enjoyable. You get to know it personally and scientifically. The other part was going out on a spacewalk. That is a little different. We trained for it in water tanks, ready for it. But when the time finally came and you get the spacesuit and they evacuate the air from the cabin, and then you venture out, everything's fine as long as you're close to the spacecraft. And then when you get out, you look down, and there's nothing between you and the Earth, 300 miles below. And you say, I know Newton was right, but suppose that guy was just a little bit wrong. And so you get a big smile on your face and get back to work.
What type of student experiments did you help with during your mission?
Well, let's see, a couple stand out. One was by Kathy Jackson, who was a neighbor of ours, so that's why I remember her especially. And she was concerned, how does the human reflexes change when you get into space? In other words, does your fine motor function change at all? So she had a little, we called it the busy box, but it was where you a little tracer, and you had to trace through a system and get through there as fast as you can without mistakes. And they wondered, for design of future spacecraft or other areas understanding our reflexes, what would be the change in living in zero gravity? And it turned out, from my standpoint, they were negligible. The best advice I think you can give a student is, first of all, find out what you really like to do. What is it in life that gets you motivated and turned on? And then go apply in that area. And if you can find things in science, and in particular that can be accomplished on a space station, all the more power to you. But going into space, you have two things that change immediately. One is you're in zero gravity, and the other is the altitude and the ability to look out and see things. We've found that various experiments where you can remove gravity from cells or other small things which interact with one another, and you don't have the convection caused by gravity, that they can grow cells exceptionally large and thereby study them. And we're learning a lot about cellular structure and cancer cells and so forth, trying to better understand that. So those are the types of things that are really a real advantage in space. Hey, it's a real pleasure for me to talk with you, and I hope you get the same sense of excitement about going into your experimental lives here that we felt when we lifted off on Skylab. We knew it was a challenge, and we had trained for it, and we knew we were going to learn a lot. I hope you have the same sense of entering this period of exploration that you're doing, and because it's you folks who are going to be our future, and what you accomplish and what you can accomplish in the future, and what you learn from all this is going to move us even further forward. We got a long way to go, so I hope you take some good strides forward as we tried to do.